I was watching a documentary on Gettysburg. It was actually a couple of months ago now, and there was a piece to the Battle of Gettysburg that I didn't know had taken place. I knew a little bit about the battle, but I didn't know all the little pieces. And one of the pieces that I didn't know is that part of the Confederate strategy on that day was that they were going to send a whole bunch of cavalry around the back of the Union lines, and that they were going to attack from the back as the other soldiers attacked from the front. And you may have heard the phrase Pickett's charge. And as Pickett's charge was happening, the back of the Confederate lines were supposed to have, or the back of the Union lines are already supposed to have been blown away by this cavalry. And that was the battle plan that day. But what happened is a brand new commander in the Union Army, who was a cavalry commander, he was outnumbered like 10-1, but he saw these Confederate troops coming up the back, and he charged them with his cavalry, and he ended up stalling them, which kept them from decimating the back of the Union lines, which kept Pickett's charge from being successful, which kept the Confederate Army from winning that battle. So it was a really key thing. And that young commander that led that group that day was General George Armstrong Custer, who you then later know from Custer's Last Stand, where again he took on an army where he was outnumbered and he ends up getting slaughtered. And as I thought about that, I thought, the difference between bravery and stupidity is usually in the result. Like we look at that at his charge at Gettysburg, and we think, man, that was brave, that was awesome. And we look at his charge at the Custer's Last Stand, and we think, moron, And the difference is really just the result. And I had somebody email me this week, and I'm going to explain what we're going to do here in a minute, but they emailed me and they just said, you're really brave for trying this. And I emailed back, I'm either really brave or really stupid. And the only way we're going to know is Sunday afternoon, just however it turns out. We are finishing a series called Questions this morning. And over the last 3 weeks, we have been encouraging all of us to ask our questions about God. What are those tough questions? What are those things that we maybe have never asked before? We've never gotten an answer that we understood before. What are those questions? We said it's okay to ask. What are they? And as a part of that, we set up a website called mygodquestion.com. And a lot of you have been on there and have read the questions and have posted questions. And what we said is this week, what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the questions from the website. And so here's how we're going to do it, is we're going to do it totally randomly. Over here in this jar, we have every question from the website on a piece of paper. And the reason we're doing it this way is as I began to prepare, I realized that the temptation for me was going to be to choose the easy questions. There are some really tough questions in here and some things that, they're tough. And I thought, the temptation is going to be for me to take the easy ones and just leave those alone. And the temptation for you guys would be, especially if I didn't tackle your question, to think, oh, mine was too tough. He didn't choose that one. So they're all in here. No holds barred. We're just going to see what happens. All right? What we're going to do is we're going to draw these randomly. We're going to do 3 10-minute chunks this morning. We're not going to do it all at once because I really don't want to bore you, all right? I don't want any drool in the back row, Lehman Brothers, all right? I'm going to try not to put you to sleep this morning. But we're just going to draw them and we're going to tackle them. Some things that you need to understand from the outset. A lot of these are things that very smart people have been debating for a very, very long time. We are not going to have the final answer to all of these questions in the chunk of time that we have this morning. My goal is not that we all leave here with a total understanding of exactly all of the theological nuances and all of the truths that are in here. My hope is that we each get one step closer to the answers. And that's my hope and that's my goal. The other thing I hope you understand is that obviously there's a lot of questions here and we don't have a lot of time. And so your question may not get asked. If you really want to have someone walk with you in pursuing an answer to that question, feel free to email me. I would love to sit down. I did prep on all of these questions. All right, let me just tell you, I felt like I was preparing for the biggest theology exam of my life this week, okay? So I have something prepared for all of these, and if you want to know what I had prepared for your question, email me and we can sit down at Starbucks and we can talk about it.